If you've been struggling to pray consistently, you're not alone. A lot of Muslims go through phases in which they find difficulty in observing their 5 daily Salah. But the good news is you can actually build a habit of praying consistently. In this video, I'm going to share practical tips that will help you stay consistent with your Salah, no matter how unmotivated you are and how busy your life can be. If you're new here, do not forget to subscribe for more self-development content and also faith-based content. First of all, let us all remind ourselves the importance of observing Salah. Salah is not just a ritual, it is you building a connection with Allah. It is a time you get to speak to Allah every day of your life 5 times daily. The Prophet ﷺ said that the first thing that will be asked of you on the day of judgment is your Salah. When you start seeing Salah as a source of peace and tranquility, your mindset shifts from Salah being a burden to you to Salah being a source of peace and tranquility to your soul. So it becomes something you want to do rather than something that you struggle to fit in. So let's talk about the common struggles of Salah. It may be lack of motivation, busy schedule, feeling lazy or distracted, or guilt for missed prayers. You know, when you're guilty that, oh, I haven't prayed for days, and then you just decide to judge yourself. You tell yourself that I do not even deserve Allah's forgiveness or mercy, so I'm not going to pray at all. But ask yourself, what is that one thing that is stopping you from observing your Salah today? Once you recognize the problem, you will be able to find solutions to that problem. So now let's move to the practical tips that will help you stay consistent with your Salah. Number 1 is setting alarms or reminders for the time of Salah. Use your phone to actually remind yourself, set alarm for your Salah, or better still, schedule your Salah around your daily activities. For example, observing Fajr immediately you wake up from sleep. Zuhur, when it's time for your lunchtime, and then you just tell yourself that, oh, let me observe Salah before my lunch, or let me observe Salah after my lunch. And when it's time for Asr, you're closing from your work. You'll be like, okay, let me wait before I go home to observe Salah, or let me get home. Immediately I get home, I'll observe Salah. And when you're rested and you say, oh, I'm going to rest for 3 hours, and immediately after your rest, Maghrib is already in, then you say, oh, let me just get up and observe Maghrib before I take dinner. And then you come back from Maghrib, you eat your dinner, and then you say, oh, let me observe Isha before I go to bed. You see that this is going to be the most easiest schedule for you to be able to stay consistent with your Salah. Another tip is by starting small. When I say start small, I mean, you know, before you don't even observe the 5 daily prayers at all, and then you tell yourself that today I'm going to observe Fajr. For 1 week, I'm going to start observing Fajr. When you start observing Fajr, before you know, you would want to observe Zuhur, and then you add, that is 2/5 instead of 0/5. And then after you start getting used to observing Zuhur, then you tell yourself, oh, I want to start observing Asr. Before you know, that's 3/5. Then after you get used to observing Asr, that means you are now used to observing Fajr, Zuhur, and Asr. And then you would want to observe Maghrib. And then after that, that is 4/5. Then after that, you would finally want to observe Isha. There's something I say to people, Salah is like a baby. The more you nurture the baby, the more stronger the baby gets and the more healthier the baby grows. And Salah is also like a plant. The more you water that plant, the more the plant becomes healthy and it flourishes. So that is how your Salah is. The more you feed your soul Salah, the more it demands for more, and the more consistent you are with your Salah. Then tip number 3 is actually to make wudu more accessible and easy. You know, in our workplaces, most people do not even have access to clean water that they can actually use to observe Salah, and then they tell themselves that when I get home, I'm going to observe Salah. You can start by getting a bottle of water from your home and say, this is dedicated to my ablutions. When I want to observe Salah, I would use this water to perform ablution. Or better still, get a bag of pure water if you're in Nigeria. Then you pick one out of it, and then before that one finishes, you get another one. You see that you're actually being very intentional about your Salah, and you're preparing ahead for the Salahs to come. Tip number 4 is find an accountability partner. If you know there's somebody that would hold you accountable for not praying, call your friend and tell them that when it's time for Fajr, wake me up. Call me to the point that I wake up. When it's time for Zuhu, call me or text me to remind me to go and pray. And if I do not pray, fight me. If you can actually box me so that I can build that consistency in my salah. So find an accountability partner. And the last tip is to frequently ask Allah for his guidance. Make dua thoroughly and tell Allah that, Ya Allah, I'm your servant. I need you to guide me. I watched a video of Bilal Assad when he said, sorry, it was Noman Ali Khan. He said, you would ask Allah for so many things. Allah may delay them because it is not yet time. But if you ask Allah for guidance, Allah would guide you. And I am a testimony. I can testify to that. You ask Allah for the guidance, he doesn't delay that. Anytime Allah can grant you guidance, because there is no best day or time for guidance. To Allah, guidance is every day, anytime. The Prophet ﷺ taught us a very beautiful dua. He said, oh Allah, help me remember you, help me be grateful to you, and help me worship you in the best way. Remember that building habits take time. Just make sure that you make up anything. Make sure that you feel the guilt, and make sure that you are ready and willing to be better. If you found this video helpful, share with your loved ones and make sure that you stay subscribed, and do not forget to tune in anytime there's a new video. Assalamu alaikum.